Picture a civilization that thrived for over 3 millennia, a society that flourished along the banks of the mighty Nile River, constructing monumental structures that have endured through the ages. The ancient Egyptians bequeathed to us not only grand pyramids and mysterious tombs, but also a wealth of knowledge, etched into the stones of their temples and the delicate fibers of their papyrus scrolls. They left a legacy of wisdom and learning, carefully documented on papyrus scrolls and temple walls. These records were not just historical accounts, but were rich with teachings, philosophies, and scientific insights. The roots of formal education in ancient Egypt can be traced back to the Old Kingdom period, around 2686 to 281 BCE. As society became more intricate, the necessity for a well-educated class to handle administrative and religious responsibilities became crucial. By the Middle Kingdom, education systems were firmly established, evolving further during the New Kingdom era. Education in ancient Egypt was highly esteemed, forming the backbone of its complex administration and cultural legacy. Schools, known as houses of life or per ankh, were centers of learning attached to temples and government institutions. These schools not only preserved knowledge, but also nurtured the next generation of scribes, priests, and officials. Scribes were the backbone of ancient Egyptian society, responsible for record-keeping, administration, and communication. Their extensive education included advanced writing, mathematics, and a profound understanding of laws and religious texts. Being a scribe was a prestigious and highly respected profession. Ancient Egypt had a variety of schools, each designed for specific purposes. Prince's School provided the highest education to pharaoh's sons, royal family members, and children of top officials. Occasionally, bright boys from lower classes were admitted if they showed exceptional promise. Temple schools were focused on religious education, preserving sacred texts and rituals, and training future priests and scribes. Palace schools prepared non-royal boys for administrative roles as scribes and officials. Vocational schools taught trades and crafts through apprenticeships, often with officials training their own sons directly through practical experience. The curriculum was demanding, emphasizing writing in hieroglyphs and hieratic script. Students also studied mathematics, essential for architecture and trade, and learned about science, medicine, and engineering. Teaching methods relied on memorization and repetition. Students spent countless hours practicing on papyrus scrolls and ostraka, pottery fragments used for sketches and informal notes. Younger boys started with wooden tablets, which could be wiped clean instead of papyrus, and used special educational books called kemti. These books introduced children to writing with simple language and vertical columns, making it easier for young students to copy and learn. Practical skills were developed through apprenticeships, where young learners worked under the guidance of experienced masters. In ancient Egypt, education was primarily reserved for boys from wealthy families. Sons of scribes, priests, and officials had the privilege to attend schools. Girls, however, were usually taught domestic skills at home. Some women from noble families were literate and knowledgeable. Their family's status allowed them to learn reading. Writing and ciphering, along with politics, art, and history, were key subjects. Many also learned household and slave management. In ancient Egypt, education began at home. Regardless of status, privilege, or gender, both girls and boys learned extensively from their parents. Parents imparted their beliefs, knowledge, and traditions to their children, aiming to preserve the society's future. Ancient Egyptians believed that knowledge was inseparable from ethics and taught their children the importance of morals and proper behavior. Boys typically began formal schooling between the ages of 5 and 9, with the duration of their studies depending on their future roles. Training to become a scribe could take several years of dedicated learning. A day in the life of a student varied depending on the type of school they attended. In Prince's School, students started their day with physical training like martial arts and horse riding to prepare them for military leadership. Academic lessons followed, with subjects like reading, writing, mathematics, history, and governance. These lessons were conducted by highly knowledgeable priests and scribes. Princes received special training in diplomacy, leadership, and military tactics. They were also taught about religious rituals and the role of the pharaoh as a divine ruler. Practical skills were honed in the afternoon. This could include administrative tasks, public speaking, and participating in court activities to understand governance. In temple schools, students' education was deeply intertwined with the spiritual duties they would eventually perform as priests in the future. They would start their day with religious rituals, followed by lessons in reading sacred texts and learning religious rites. They attended astronomy, writing, reading, mathematics, geography, music, and other lessons as well. At the age of 17, boys started their official priesthood training in a temple college. Its length would vary, depending on different requirements for various priest offices. In palace schools, the day began with lessons in reading, writing, and mathematics. Students practiced copying texts, learning to compose official documents, and mastering the complex bureaucratic systems that kept the state running. They learned law and history. Physical and religious education was also part of the curriculum, preparing boys for leadership and administrative roles. Vocational school students, on the other hand, spent most of their day apprenticing with craftsmen. They learned skills such as carpentry, stonemasonry, and metalworking by observing and assisting their masters. Practical experience was key, with hands-on learning being the primary method of instruction. To complete their education, basic literacy and numeracy lessons were also provided. The art of teaching in ancient Egypt was more than a pathway to a career. It was a vital institution that sustained the administration, culture, and knowledge of the civilization. Education was revered, essential for societal progress, and deeply intertwined with the spiritual and practical aspects of life. It was a cornerstone of their society, ensuring the continuity of their rich heritage. Thank you for watching. If you like our content, please click the thumb button and subscribe to our channel.